Welcome to Raw Take, everyone, the lifeline to your unfiltered media experience. I'm your host, Gion Thomas, and before we get into the show today, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any uploads. Also, you can find us anywhere where you can listen to podcasts. So, recently, courts have been coming out and saying that mainstream media outlets are not to be seen as being credible. A ruling was filed against Tucker Carlson last year. A recent ruling against Rachel Maddow, saying not to take these people as serious news outlets, and we already know that. One of the reasons we know that Rachel Maddow harped on Russiagate for 4 years when there was no real evidence, no real hard evidence, even after the Mueller report came out and there was no real hard evidence. Then we also know Tucker Carlson, he's basically a racist bigot that puts on propaganda every day. Even his own producers have come out being racist, so we already know not to trust them. So why are we listening to Joe and Mika in the Morning Joe? They basically fearmongered their audience into thinking that if troops leave, that it's going to be a very horrible predicament for the people that's going to be in Afghanistan for when the Taliban comes in. So let's just show let's show a couple of clips from Morning Joe this morning.
Western involvement in Afghanistan comes to an end. Sky News takes a closer look at the Afghan people who face the most risk when the troops leave, particularly Afghan women and young people who have carved out a life for themselves in spite of, or perhaps in defiance of, the threat of violence against them. Sky News special correspondent Alex Crawford reports from Kabul.
Afghanistan's hospitals are filled with the war wounded, many of them children. The latest here is a 13-year-old girl. She's never known peace. The doctors will patch her up and remove the shrapnel in her, but she'll emerge back into a country where survival is getting harder and harder. There's been a spike in fatalities and casualties as Allied troops begin to pull out after nearly 20 years, and the Afghans fear it'll only get worse. No one's safe, not even medics saving lives. He's a doctor, shot after refusing an X-ray on a patient he suspected had coronavirus. There are multiple dangers facing everyone in this country, and he signals his appreciation to his fellow medics.
I'm okay, thank you.
But despite his bravery, he's vulnerable because he also works with the Americans. Don't believe the Taliban reassurances that they've changed. They tell me of shocking lives, of forced marriages, of beatings, of rapes, where they had no say and no rights. And that is what they believe the Taliban envisage for women.
And it really shows, Joe, just how complicated this has been for 2 decades. I mean, on this very show, there have been many critiques of the government for staying there too long, for this forever war to end. At the same time, it's just beyond heartbreaking to see now what will inevitably start happening again in the void that America leaves.
Yeah, the United States definitely has to think long and hard before it goes into other countries at war, and also what the most sustainable course is for countries like Afghanistan, whether it's 2,500, 3,000, 4,000 troops who were so effective in Afghanistan and also so effective in Syria. Is there a sustainable fighting force that can keep the peace and protect people like those that we saw in that package?
All right. You know, I don't think that it's all going to be peaches and roses when the Taliban comes back in. But fear-mongering people into staying in this forever war is not the right thing. We've been in this war for 20 years, and what has happened? Nothing. Nothing has happened. A lot of things on the back end has happened, but a lot of people have gotten enriched. That's what's happened. But there's no real substantive change for the people in Afghanistan. And just the fact that they will fearmonger you into thinking that we have to stay there forever for these people to, have a normal life is just crazy. We cannot be the world police. They have issues going around all over the world. The things that woman was talking about, being into a forced marriage, rapes and that is very unfortunate, and we do want to fight against those things, but those things are happening all around the world. Do you expect America to be all around the world trying to stop rape and trying to stop? It's something that America cannot do that. We cannot be the world police. We cannot be sticking our noses into everybody's business. And I understand, there needs to be humanitarian rights and we need humanitarian intervention and stuff like that. But that doesn't have to be America. America does not have to be the sole provider of that humanitarian aid, because that humanitarian aid, when it comes down to America, is just war and just death and violence. And then at the end, Joe, Mika tries to say, we've been critical of having troops there. But then Joe goes back and says, we need to at least keep 2,000, 4,000 troops there. Why? Why are you begging for the military industrial complex to keep this fight? That's basically what you're doing. You're being a mouthpiece for the war machine. Why? Nothing has come from this. Nothing has come from this. When the Taliban, when we first got started there, the Taliban had 90% control. After all this time, the Taliban has 85% control. Nothing has changed. Only thing has changed is people have gotten richer. Contractors have gotten richer. Boeing has gotten richer. These people have gotten richer. These people have gotten more money. And Americans have gotten mangled. We have a generation of boys and of men and women who've come back home, and they're just not even cared for. I just don't understand it. Nothing has changed. 90% control, 85% control over a 20-year span. We've thrown billions of dollars at this in humanitarian aid, and we still have people living below the poverty line. The Taliban in 2001 had eradicated, they had gotten rid of the opium production in Afghanistan. Now, Afghanistan is one of the leading producers of opium. And we all know what happened, because that's one of the reasons America went in there. They went in there for the opium, the oil, in the surrounding areas, and the minerals, and Big Pharma. Big Pharma has a direct hand in that. This was a war for resources and to try and just put money back. This was a war for profit. That's all it was. How you go from, in 2001, the Taliban, and how we can all agree the Taliban is horrible, worse, bad. But the Taliban eradicated the opium use. Now, Afghanistan is the largest producer in that area of opium. Backwards. people still living below the poverty line in Afghanistan. But we've thrown billions of dollars at this problem. Where's the money going? Who's the money going to? Whose pockets is it in? Because it's not in their pockets. And Morning Joe just lying, fear-mongering its audience, which is an older generation, that, these people, a lot of people don't even know that mainstream media is not to be seen as credible anymore. A lot of people don't know that. They just absorb it. And then they're just absorbing this propaganda. And then last but not least, we had the Afghanistan papers that came out, I think in 2019, or I think it was 2019 or 2018. And it showed that high-ranking military officials did not have a clear way of winning, and that they were just lying. Just lying. They had to just keep the war machine going. There was no clear plan. I mean, Afghanistan papers laid out so much, and they did that in the cover of night, and it didn't get any attention, no attention on it. So they lied about us being in war before, and so then they come up with this propaganda piece saying, "Oh, what's going to happen to the people after we leave?" It's just straight propaganda. And then they've put it out there that we're lying about it. It's just a big lie. It's just a huge lie. Don't fall for the lie, people. We do not need to stay in Afghanistan. And it says Biden is going to leave around 650 troops. A lot of people want a full evacuation of the Middle East, of Afghanistan, of all these places, because it'll wind up being a yo-yo. They'll take all those troops out a year, a couple of months, not even a year, sometimes a couple of months later. We have to redeploy 1,000 troops. We have to redeploy 4,000 troops. Then we're back. We're all back. It's all over again. And then you heard Joe talk about Syria and Afghanistan, and people don't understand. Like, there's a huge pipeline. That is why we are over there. There's a pipeline between Iran, Iraq, and Syria. And they want control of that pipeline. That's why they're trying to overthrow Assad. It's all about resources. You follow the dollars, you follow the money, you will follow what's really going on. Man, it's just wild. It's wild. And then they just come out here every day and lie to y'all. They lied to us. Lied to the American people faces. Been lying us into war for years. For years. We got to do better. That's why you have to support independent media. You have to support new media. You cannot continue to listen to these blundering fools who have lied us into war before. Who've lied us into war for countless years. Years they've lied us into war. Do not fall for the fake. Leave it alone. It's not conducive for your health. I hope Joe Biden sticks with it. I hope I hope he eventually even dwindles down that 650 number to, 0, 100. America needs to stop being the world police. We need to start focusing at home. We have to start focusing at home. I mean, we are crumbling. We are a crumbling empire. I mean, I think there's a quote that empires go to die when they mess with Afghanistan or go to mess with the Middle East. I know I'm probably messing that up, but I think if you look throughout history, nations that have tried to conquer Afghanistan have always failed. They've always gone bankrupt trying to do it. And so it's just time for us to leave. The generals knew that there was no productive way of winning, and they still lied. Check out the Afghanistan papers, everyone. It's a really good read. It really outlines and details what's been going on over there for the past 20 or so years, and how it was just war for profit, war for resources and minerals, and opium. And then that backfired, because now we got an opium pandemic. Do you not see the correlation? There's an opium. Afghanistan, where America has been over the past 20 years, becomes the biggest opium manufacturer in that area. I think it might even be the biggest manufacturer in the world. And also in America, we have an opium pandemic. You don't see that? You don't see that line? You don't see that bridge? Yeah. I don't know. It just makes me mad. But all right, everyone. Like I said before, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any uploads. Also, you can find us anywhere where you can listen to podcasts. Y'all have a blessed day. We got to fix the system, guys. And support independent media. Y'all have a blessed day.